In the ancient kingdom of Valerian, where golden towers kissed the clouds and rivers shimmered like flowing glass, there lived a king whose name was spoken with both reverence and fear. King Alaric was known as a ruler of iron will, a man who believed that justice must be upheld above all else, even above love. Yet behind the heavy doors of his grand palace, beyond the stern crown and the royal robes, lived a father whose heart belonged entirely to one person. His only daughter, Princess Elara. Elara was the light of the kingdom, a gentle soul with eyes as soft as the morning sky and a heart filled with compassion. Wherever she walked, flowers seemed to bloom brighter, and people felt hope stirring within them. She spent her days among the poor, giving food, comforting the sick, and listening to stories of sorrow no royal had ever cared to hear. The people adored her, calling her the Moon of Valerian, for she shone softly in the darkest nights. King Alaric loved her beyond words. After losing his queen years ago, Elara became his entire world. He would often watch her from afar, his stern face softening whenever she laughed. But even love could not change the king's rigid belief that the law must never bend. And fate, cruel and merciless, would soon test that belief in the most devastating way imaginable. One winter evening, a terrible crime shook the kingdom. The royal treasury was robbed, and during the chaos, the chief royal advisor was found dead. The entire palace fell into panic. Guards searched every corner, interrogations echoed through the halls, and whispers of betrayal spread like wildfire. After days of investigation, a shocking accusation emerged. Evidence pointed toward Princess Elara. The kingdom froze in disbelief. The people refused to believe it. How could the kindest soul commit such a crime? But the proof, a blood-stained dagger found in her chambers, witness testimonies twisted by fear, and a mysterious letter, all seemed undeniable. Elara stood before her father in the grand court, her hands trembling but her voice steady. "Father, I swear on mother's memory, I am innocent." For a moment, the king's heart shattered behind his unmoving face. He wanted to run down from his throne, hold her, and declare the accusations false. But the court watched. The kingdom watched. And King Alaric believed that if a ruler showed weakness, justice would crumble. "The law is above all," he declared, his voice echoing like thunder. "Even above my own blood." The trial lasted weeks. Elara pleaded her innocence again and again, her voice growing weaker with each passing day. The people cried outside the palace gates, begging the king to spare her. But the evidence remained unchanged, and the king's heart grew heavier with every sleepless night. He began to doubt himself, yet his pride and belief in the law chained him. Finally, the verdict day arrived. The courtroom was silent except for muffled sobs. Elara stood pale but dignified, her eyes fixed on her father with a mixture of love and heartbreak. King Alaric's hands trembled as he held the royal decree. Every word felt like a blade piercing his soul. "Princess Elara of Valerian, you are found guilty of treason and murder. The sentence is death by hanging at dawn." A cry of agony filled the hall. The king felt his heart die as he spoke the words. Elara did not scream. She only whispered softly, "I forgive you, father." That night, the king wandered the palace like a ghost. Memories of Elara as a child, her tiny hands holding his finger, her laughter echoing through the gardens, haunted him. He wanted to stop the execution, to tear the decree apart. But fear of breaking the law, of appearing unjust, held him prisoner. Dawn arrived cold and gray. The entire kingdom gathered, their hearts heavy with sorrow. Elara walked calmly to the gallows, her white dress flowing like a final ray of light. She looked at the crowd with gentle eyes and then at her father standing in the distance, broken yet silent. "I have always loved you," she said softly before the rope was placed around her neck. The lever fell. And with it, the king's soul shattered forever. The kingdom plunged into mourning. People lit candles for weeks, whispering prayers for the princess who had shown them kindness. But grief soon turned to unrest as doubts about her guilt began to surface. Months later, a dying guard confessed the truth. The real culprit was the ambitious royal minister who had planted false evidence to seize power. Elara had discovered his plan, and he framed her to silence her forever. When the truth reached King Alaric, the world seemed to collapse around him. He fell to his knees, a broken man drowning in regret. His cries echoed through the empty halls, filled with memories of the daughter he had failed to protect. He ordered the minister captured and executed, but vengeance brought no peace. Nothing could bring Elara back. The king built a marble monument in her honor, engraved with the words, "Here lies Princess Elara, the purest soul, whose light was extinguished by the blindness of justice without mercy." Years passed, but King Alaric was never the same. He ruled with kindness afterward, changing laws to ensure compassion would always stand beside justice. Yet every night, he sat by Elara's monument, whispering apologies to the wind. One winter morning, the servants found the old king sitting quietly beside the monument, a faint smile on his face, as if he had finally reunited with his beloved daughter beyond the veil of life. And so, the story of the king who chose law over love became a legend told through generations, a reminder that justice without compassion can become the cruelest injustice of all. The people of Valerian would forever remember the princess who forgave even as she faced death, and the father who spent the rest of his life seeking forgiveness he believed he never deserved. And somewhere beyond the stars, it is said, a gentle light still shines. The eternal glow of a daughter's love that even death could not extinguish.